Friends and family, thank you for joining me here at the American News Network with Chris Sanders. This is an update at the Pentagon going on right behind me right now, currently deciding on if we're going to go to war. The United States, we have hit, I'm going to give you a list. Yeah, we hit the Houthis. In fact, over 47 times, then over 50 times. They've hit us over 3 times. But we also we just hit a supply boat of Israel. Is that payback for the USS Liberty? I don't know if it is, but in a way it is. And everybody's been getting accidentally hit over there as we're scrambling around. Are we going to put troops on the ground in Yemen? And we can't keep on saying Hamas, and I'll let you know also that Benjamin Netanyahu violated his ceasefire agreement. He lets everybody go in, a whole bunch of children, women, to go look through the rocks, and then he massacres hundreds of them. Yeah, I don't think we really need allies that do that, whose words that you can't believe in at all, and that's basically what we're looking at all the time. And we can do better than that. So it's just, they're kind of sad facts, but we are going to war. We have hit a supply vessel of Iran and Israel. This is coming up here at the American News Network Live with me here, Chris Sanders. And I want you to know that United States Navy has had over 50 strikes we've dealt out to the Houthis, to Yemen. Pentagon is getting updated currently as we speak, and it is going on. We have a president, though, unlike the times before, that is actually hands-on involved in all the strikes. So whereas the past we did not have a hands-on president, well, that's not what we have today. No, sir, no, ma'am. We have President Trump, and he is not listening to music with his headphones on. And I wanted to give an update, too, as far as to what we're looking at here as far as the technology. I don't think this is Iran technology. I think this is Chinese technology. And that's why they're having some success. I don't think Iran hit those speed records. When I clocked Yemen, shooting stuff from Yemen to Israel in 11 minutes, I was like, nah, this isn't coming from Iran. This is China using Yemen like a crash test dummy, like we've been using the Ukraine against Russia. I'm speculating this is China using Yemen against the United States. Just a theory. Now, there's a lot to this, but I want you to know that Trump is right on line. And he's, making sure that everything is pretty much right on line. And, Yemen are revolting. They've now been hit over 50 times pretty hard by the United States, by Trump. This is a new sheriff in town. Now, the YJ-21 series is something that's going to be coming at us, and it's not made by these people. I can tell by just looking at how they drive, their technology, their houses. They're not making missiles that are going Mach. Those puppies are coming from China. And it's China's new YJ-21, and they have a series of them, and they can go about 1,000 miles, 930 plus miles. They've been modifying them, and they've been shooting a lot of them off. I think this is what we're looking at here, pure and simple. China's super destroyer, and they have armed various ones, and I think they've doled these series out. You can see 4 of them here, and I think this is what our Navy needs to pay attention to. And same thing with aircraft carriers. They've been created to take out aircraft carriers. Now, this just happened since we've been talking out here. In the Houthis, the ballistic attack on Israel's Netvayim air base is a shocker for Netanyahu. Now, again, we accidentally struck one of their supply vessels, much like them striking the USS Liberty on accident, right? But we also struck an Iranian spy ship. So the war is actually, in my opinion, officially started. We have hit Iran. I repeat, we have hit Iran. Now we're going to see how they respond, but they had a spy vessel out towards looking at us, and we blew it. And I just want you to know that that happened. And so, and also keep in mind that Benjamin Netanyahu did a ceasefire, and then as everybody went in and complied, then he slaughtered everybody again. So the way as I called it, I said, Zelensky and Netanyahu, these Ashkenazis, when they say a ceasefire, I'm not seeing too much of a credibility as far as what to believe on that. This China, and I want you to know they have a series of these that can kill the USS Harry Truman strike group. And it's Strike Group 8 out there. And they have been launching these off. Just the other day, they did 8 Shandongs into satellites in a day. We don't do 8 satellites in a day. That's how far behind we are, America. They are literally building stuff up there and dominating the skies. And we could... And instead of doing rockets and rockets that land, we should do those slingshot technology and just start slingshotting steel up into the sky and catching it. And but they have been releasing these awesome ships lately. What you just saw earlier when I was talking was the drone mothership. They've had 2 series of drone motherships, okay? And these are communicating with their new satellites and CubeSats. I think that with their new 252 times faster AI, that they're going to microwave us. No kidding. Not just the 5G, but this could be the weather manipulation that we're seeing. It could be caused by the Chinese CubeSats. And I think I'm right on target, so I don't really care what a lot of other people are saying. They have these missiles, and I want you to know they're there, but they also have CubeSats, which are like little boxes in microwave ovens with solar panels on them that are low orbit, just like Starlink, except they're not our friends. I showed you the Claw satellite, and again, I don't believe it's the Houthis that we're having to worry about, or even Iran. No. I believe that they're being supplied stuff by China, and this is China's war equipment that you're seeing behind me here. It's not ours, it's Chinese gear. And that's just a little update. Now, as far as us sinking a spy vessel, this is only like within the last 5 hours. And I want you to see that. Here, come here, you. Get them all like Godzilla. Yeah. You can get them all like Godzilla. Yeah. And good news, there is Boston Terriers in this world and chickens. But this is what it's looking like on the Harry S Truman. And we are able to hold 49 FA-18s. And they've been doling it out, and Trump has been threatening Iran, and we took out one of their ships. So this is the new sheriff in town, just like Carolyn Leavitt says, and this is the results of that right behind me. And whether it's in the middle of the night or during the day, and that's the satellite reconnaissance of proof as far as the IRGC deploys ballistic missiles after reports of the U.S. sinking of the Iran spy vessel. And we've been trading it back and forth between the Houthis and Iran. And we accidentally hit the Israeli supply vessel, you know, much like they accidentally hit the United States Liberty. So could be just payback from our boys. If so, you know, payback's whatever it is. I believe in Hindu terms it would be called karma. Yeah. So karma happened right there, according to Hindustan Times, against the USS Liberty for the Israelis on behalf of the United States Navy. And we'll probably see more of that, because there are a lot of people that know as far as what's up. Now, I don't know if you caught it, but we have launched huge airstrikes on the Houthis. And Carolyn Leavitt, I didn't know what to think originally, but boy, she is thunderous and awesome. Puts people right in their place, and does it with style and charisma. So I think we've, you know, just like we saw Sarah Sanders become the governor of a state, this young lady's definitely going to become the governor of a state, in my opinion. Kayleigh McEnany, you know, became a reporter, and I can understand why. This young girl here's definitely going to be a governor somewhere. You can chime in and agree with me below, but it's the way she confronts and puts these totally phony reporters in their place is quite awesome. So we went from a dirty Q-tip to a one that makes you just leave it right there where the truth is, and this is how we're responding. And she knows that, just like she said, there's a new sheriff in town, and these are his orders, and this is what's going on. And praying for the United States Navy. And again, like I said, as I was reporting, that we had 3 attacks that were happening, and that they were happening exactly as I was doing it. And I want you to know that Israel has resumed airstrikes in Gaza. So as we're hitting the Houthis, Israel violated their own ceasefire, and they're pretty much murdering defenseless people and calling them Hamas when they're really just Gazahites or Hezbollah. And the word Hamas means, you know, the devil, or to do bad in Hebrew in Israel. So it's not even a term that the people would give themselves. But I do want you to know that we have launched a huge attack right now, and Iran is on the line. So the Houthis are getting it, and they're getting it right now. I would like to say that we are at war, and these are updates that are coming in right now that are describing it. Let's see.
Vehicle infrastructure, weapons manufacturing capabilities, and weapons storage facilities. It also included a number of command and control centers, including a terrorist compound where we know several senior Houthi unmanned aerial vehicle experts were located. On Sunday, strike operations continued against additional headquarters locations, weapons storage facilities, as well as detection capabilities that have been used to threaten maritime shipping in the past. Today, the operation continues, and it will continue in the coming days until we achieve the president's objectives. We have some initial estimates. I hesitate to say what they are because they're very much estimates at this point, but I think in terms of dozens might be a safe overall characterization. Yeah, dozens of military casualties so far, but I really can't characterize it much better than that at this point. We'll learn more as we go. On the civilian casualty side, no indications of any civilian casualties. We, of course, have seen some of the accusations by the Houthis. We look at those closely when they do come in, but we have no credible indications of any civilian casualties. While we won't talk about it publicly, just know that there is a design to the operation. There are specific effects that we're trying to achieve, and there are specific targets that have been selected and approaches that we're taking in order to achieve the president's end state. So it isn't that we're just striking capabilities. There's an intent behind every strike and every target that we go after. Without going into too many operational details for security reasons, but it's a much broader set of targets that we've been able to action in this case. And the other key differences are the delegation of authorities from the President through Secretary Hegseth down to the operational commander. So that allows us to achieve a tempo of operations where we can react to opportunities that we see on the battlefield in order to continue to put pressure on the Houthis.
Developing right now, President Trump is saying that the federal government should, quote, take over control of Washington, D.C. He is throwing his support behind this effort, led by some Republicans in Congress.
And they say a federal takeover is needed to help bring down
Federal takeover. I'm going to give you an idea right here, the way I'm reading some stuff. You know how we changed the name of the Gulf of America from the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America? This brilliant man right behind me did that. If he was to change the District of Columbia to the District of America, I repeat, let me just get this straight to you here so that you can understand my thesis. This guy's so brilliant that he bypassed all of our laws by simply changing the name of the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, and he opened it up for business. A lot of the things in the bylaws that protects the swamp, so to speak, and I'm not kidding you, is the fact that there is this area that is called the District of Columbia. Now, if our president used that same executive power that he used to change the Gulf of Mexico to the Gulf of America, if he changed the District of Columbia, and we see England falling, we see all of our prior obligations in the trash as King Charles becomes a Muslim. Even the King of Saudi, in my opinion, will probably become a Christian. Now, things change. But if he used this same power to call it the District of America, not District of Columbia, not D.C., D.A., all of those rights that existed in an area that no longer exist would diminish. And the Constitution could kind of change itself and get a lot of powers back to some original times. It would be like almost a federalist move by like John Adams and those guys back in the day. But it's something that could happen. So it's like, imagine if he created the District of America. And I wanted to slide that in there because this is some legal discourse that could float around and get infectious and talk to other people and maybe get on other channels. Because we did change the Gulf of America. Because we can change the District of Columbia into the District of America. Just like we can acquire the states of Canada and Greenland, bringing us at 64 states. And I see these things happening. Yeah, I do. Anyways, we did hit the Houthis, and we are hitting the Houthis again. Yeah, this guy snores pretty loud, I'm letting you know. They're not the best dogs either for being housebroken dogs. No, Labradors, even Aussies are much better than Boston Terriers. Snorability, farting factor, these guys are champions at it, huh? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. But they get liked by even bigger dogs and go around and introduce themselves. Like, huh. And it's from Boston. It's an American type of dog. Huh. You a good boy? Yes, you're a good boy. Alrighty. So the people are really mad at us out there, America, and I just wanted you to know that. And if you're just a civilian, get away from areas of conflict out there in Yemen, please, because we're dishing it out as we speak. And there's been hundreds of people that have been killed in Yemen and also in Gaza. So if the United States and Israel is doing joint attacks against other countries, that's very much kind of like a world war. And we pulled our U.S. troops out of Germany into Hungary. And we're making all those things happen right now. Now, at the same time, I want you to know within the last 2 hours that we have the Houthis just now firing a missile at Israel again. And I'm telling you, I think it's a Chinese hookup. Either that or it's Iran, like we speculate, and then we could say it's Iran and Yemen against Israel and the United States. And these are, a couple of countries together, and Russia and China said that they'd be on the side of the other countries. Anyways, I'm hoping everybody can hear me clearly out there, but we have another shock again, and the Houthis are also going to, because of the Gaza ceasefire violation by Netanyahu, they're going to hit Israel again. So Yemen's also going to be gearing up for that again. Now, Abu Abdeli, he was most likely killed on these revenge IDF strikes. And that's been reported by the IDF as well. So a lot of bad guys are getting taken out. But it's just stuff that, in my opinion, violates the Constitution of the United States. And the Constitution says that Congress shall make no law regarding the establishment of a religion. And this is just Judaism versus Islam, Boston Terriers versus Frenchies, miniature Aussies versus full-size Aussies. Regardless, it's straight out canine racism. And that's just the way I'm just going to call it out. Now, China is, again, they are doling this stuff out, and I want everybody to be very well aware of the fact that it's not just Uncle Sam and Mother Russia that's sprinkling dust of destruction. Who could be supplying Iran? Well, we know that Russia is. And we know there's been trades and drone trades, but there's an alliance, and there are other countries that intrinsically hate Israel. And one of them we need to be very well aware of is, because it's not our war in America. It's Israel's war, but it's who they pull us into wars with. And their racism isn't accepted by Russia. But Russia has been very diplomatic. China's literally taken them off the map, literally on maps that they print. And I believe that they're supplying Iran and even Yemen with weapons of mass destruction that's going to be used against Israel and the United States Navy. And this is why we have to stop exporting oil and gas. Okay, we can export clean natural gas. We can export clean gasoline or other stuff that we've done, but not sour gas, not sour fuel. Well, why is that, Chris? Well, it's because there's sulfur in it. And we need to stop coal and sulfur in the components that they use for gunpowder. Comprende, amigos? Well, there's a battleship that got reassigned from the East Coast, and it's on the Texas coast right now. And it's a missile destroyer, and it's going to be used against the cartel if they want to act up. So we have the Navy actually patrolling the border of Texas. And it has very long-range stuff that it could use, but again, so does China, and China and Russia are factors that the United States Navy is going to have to pay attention to, not just the Houthis. And we are nailing them, but I'm just letting you see all these different arrays. And I posted the different missiles, and they're all going, around Mach 5 to Mach 10, too damn fast for us to really want to contend with. And it's none of it's good news. Now, I want you to know that it's almost like, and here's a disclaimer, but Israel literally it was kind of like a trap was set with the ceasefire. I'm going to call it like I see it. Imagine calling a ceasefire and letting all the kids and people go through the rubble looking for the remains, and then just massacring everybody. Anyways, that's he called a ceasefire and then he slaughtered everybody in Gaza. We might not know the truth. I want you to know the truth, because Egypt does, so does Saudi, so does Lebanon and Turkey. These actions pulled Turkey away from NATO. And so war has returned. And then simultaneously we're hitting Yemen, and we're hitting Iran, and we just nailed a facility. War causes war, hate causes hate, and we've had a lot of people that have gone down. Let me bring some positive news besides bulldogs. Well, in the state of Arkansas, Sanders is doing something great. Are you an illegal alien that lives in the state of Arkansas? Well, if you commit a crime, that crime could be dramatically enhanced. Oh yeah, not 1 year, but 2, not 3, but 5 or 10 or life. Thanks to Governor Sanders, she's seizing Chinese property, implementing tough laws, and also making it to where if you're an illegal alien, she's going to throw the book right at you. And it's an approach much like Wonder Woman did out there, but here we go, Sarah.
Accountable for their crimes. Governor Sanders is aligning Arkansas with President Trump's efforts to enhance border control. He appeared alongside.
All right, so I'm going to let you hear what Sarah has to say real quick here.
We are announcing the Defense Against Criminal Illegals Act. This is our state's plan to hold violent criminal illegal immigrants accountable for their crimes.
Governor Sanders is
There you go. And, great job, Sarah. I know that the new secretary of, the White House correspondent, the new one, she's probably going to be some great governor too. I already see it, but look at the great job Sarah's doing. And Kristi Noem is doing a fantastic job at the border in New York and various areas. Marco Rubio is. We're going down there really paying attention to topics that I was talking about before this administration, like getting the Panama Canal back. And it's weird, but who's helping us? BlackRock is helping us. And it seems like I see BlackRock helping us through getting the Panama Canal back. There are also certain players that might be puppets, in my opinion, that have BlackRock in their resume. The new Prime Minister of Canada, I think that he's there to disseminate and divide Canada up for the United States, and I see a BlackRock type of Carlyle group of persona from the new Prime Minister of Canada. But I also see that for the Prime Minister of Germany as well. So we're going to have some interesting things happen in Canada. I think both these countries got people that they didn't even vote for, and they might wonder why. And it's because you're on the chopping block, and you should be, when you can't pay your bills. And right now, the Pentagon is deciding on if we're going to go to war against Iran. And we did hit an Iranian spy ship already. So these are major things that are happening as we speak. Our Navy is completely, really at war. They've taken 3 major missile attacks, and but at the same time we have Putin and Trump agreeing to things. We have the international criminal courts that might have kidnapped Duterte out in the Philippines. We don't know really what has gone on about that. And we have Abu Abdal killed the leader of Hamas, and understand that's a term given by the Israeli military because he has to either be Al-Qaeda or but there is no term that's an Israeli term for just being evil. Now, again, why do I say we're kind of already at a world war status? Well, this is us blowing up an Iranian ship. This is the ship we just blew up. So this is a news flash, America. We're hitting the Houthis hard. Iran talked a little bit of smack to President Trump, and he responded by doing this and blowing this ship out of the water. There's a cold breeze coming in. It's got some orange zest appeal, but it smells like a lion, and it's dragging around a couple of watermelons, I've noticed. Making a lot of dust come up into the air. So the United States has sunk an Iranian spy vessel amid this Houthi war. We're not even letting other people pay attention to what's going on. When he says tight hole, he's keeping it tight hole. And that's to protect the troops and everything that's going on out there. We don't know. But we do know that war is going on. Now, there's a controversy between what Iran says and what America is saying right now. Iran's saying that it chased us out. We're saying we chased them out. But there's some sort of air drama going on over there. And I'm guessing it's to test out forces of radar for oncoming missiles. That's what I'm guessing. It's a war strategy. We're probably going to be using it over there. So we're sending out the Boston Terriers before we send out the Pit Bulls. Or we're sending out the Buff Orpingtons before we send out the Game Chickens. Something like that could be going on. Anyways, I just want you to know, so America and Iran, we've been playing the chase thing after the aircraft carrier, but we also sunk one of their vessels at the same time. And, how is the United States responding to the drama? We're responding to it by locking and loading the Harry S Truman Strike Group 8. We got 49 FA-18s that are out there delivering it to you. And I imagine we're going to exhaust our payloads, and as soon as she's tired, we're going to stick another aircraft carrier out there freshly replenished that's going to have certain objectives learned. And we got to pray for our troops, but in no way do I think that we're not in a time of war. And again, we nailed them over 4750 times. And in the last 48 hours, we've been attacked over 3 times. First time, 18 missiles. Second time, 6. Third time, 2 here, 4 there. But it is throwing our timing off, and I imagine it's going to continue. I pray that Russia doesn't get involved with China. But I think that through studying the technology, I think China's somehow already involved. And they're just getting too many high intense, fast, over Mach 5 incoming. And we are kind of baffled by that, but I don't think that we should be. I think that we have to understand that China took Israel off the map, and I think that China's looked at who all are Israel's enemies, and they've identified Iran and the Houthis as enemies, and they gave them something that could go about that appropriate distance. And so that's what we're seeing here. And they have a lot of firepower, and we should be very leery of that and what's going on. Now, as long as we stay out past 950 miles, we'll be okay from them. No kidding. So what I'm getting at is stay around the 1,200 mile range and deliver it to them, track where they're fighting and where they're firing from by radar and diminish it. And that's what I'm getting at, and that's what we should do. This is kind of simple war strategy, but by them having this exact missile that I said, it's got about a 930, 950 mile range, and it's coming to us fast, but we can get there with the FA-18s and take out the targets and track where it's coming from. And that's probably why we took out the spy vessels, but hopefully we'll have superiority and take out the threat by the end of today. And I imagine that's what Trump will do. The main question for us to hold on tight for is, how is the Middle East and everybody in Islam going to respond once again to us backing a culture that just violated its own ceasefire and went in and killed a whole bunch of civilians? So even though I'm praying for us, I can understand why the people over there are upset. And I think we all can, because in America, we don't represent hate towards any race like that. And so what we're doing is disgusting. And we're backing racism, and I think we all know it. We can call it what we want to. But you should treat your neighbor the way that you want to be treated yourself. And above all, you should love. And this guy here, he's saying, when I've listened to him talk, that he has retaliated from the 47 strikes, and he is. I imagine they're scared to death. And they should be. And this is just another war that we shouldn't be in. Now, a lot of people don't know who I'm talking about when I say the arrest of certain people in the international criminal courts. But I'd be talking about, Duarte. There's a lot of people to say it, but we have various prime ministers that have been said that they violated certain crimes. And that's going on. The Philippines is looking at it, but I think that you should leave the Philippines alone. They have some bad things that have happened, but it's nothing compared to Pakistan, where they literally hijacked and stole their president, Imran Khan. But we were so close to having that happen here in the United States, too. So you have to really pay attention to the liberals that try to steal our leaders. So this Pentagon speech, I was letting you know, this is a lieutenant general out of the Air Force, and we are about to make it really happen. Okay? So we have triple attacks, and as such, we have orders to dish it out. And I let you hear the Lieutenant General of the Air Force that's doing that. And as such, we have the President of the United States going into the war room, and the missiles are flying. Now, this is a new administration. We did take a war break. The time will be taken for 2 years. And after 2 years, we could be violating the War Powers Act of 1973. And I believe that this, and these are fresh orders to the Army as well. But I bet this president's going to do some dynamic moves, and he renamed the Gulf of America. I'd like to see the District of Columbia become the District of America. What about you? Because there's a lot of things that the District of Columbia has done and has rights to that it shouldn't. And if it was only just renamed, maybe the Corporation of the United States of America Incorporation and its rights and entitlements would go away as well. That's a legal theory, but there's a lot of truth to it, America. Anyways, I want you to know those things. And, yeah, we have over 400 at least plus killed in Gaza. And so the numbers are probably in the thousands. And, of course, that pisses off Iran and Saudi and every humanitarian that's out there. Because we can't back murdering children. Anybody. For what purpose? You know, the Torah is one thing, but the Talmud, it's, you know, it makes it, this is Zionistic Talmud looking at everybody as if they're trash. No kidding, we're less than dogs. And I see it in action. And I hope you can too. In other stories, I'm going to let you know, thanks to good old Rocket Man, Elon Musk, our African in the White House. Good old Doge. Well, he's making it to where we can actually rescue crazy woman with funny hair out in the International Space Station. Sunita Williams, she's coming home. And these are very interesting factors that are happening here. Now, when they had this connection happen, it was happening at pretty much lightning speed, but then they all got together and they bounced around with joy in there, and they were all pretty much happy. So they're going to be coming home here pretty soon. So a lot of interesting things are happening. And I'm glad that the Dragon capsule will be landing soon. NASA, SpaceX, and they'll be bracing for re-entry. And that's just some interesting things that are coming on. This is its disattachment. And it's amazing all the people that they fit in there. And we're going to have that puppy come home. Undocked just after 12 a.m. Splashdown at 4:57 p.m. And the crane will load it onto a ship. Let's hope it does that better than it did the space shuttle back in 1986 and 7. Now we have the president who's just now coming out with a statement with peace talks. And it's peace talks with Putin. What the world is afraid of, and they should be. Today we're releasing the truth about the murder of JFK, and we damn well know that our own FBI and CIA did it. We have Kash Patel in there with Dan Bongino, and thank God we're getting rid of the shadow government and draining the swamp. There's something called Doge. We got Doge enforcement going on. We got Doge report going on. And those are the mechanisms that we're using to drain this swamp. And the president, through Elon Musk, and just a brilliant staff of people, America is coming together. And people are doing actual accountability and true reporting so that they can save the nation. And instead of there being some liar that's in Trump's ear when he talks to Putin, guess how this is going to go. He's going to talk to Putin on a Zoom call, and his wife is going to be right beside him telling him everything that he's saying. Isn't that refreshing to know that we have our own internal Russian translator? Most likely her and Barron could tell him what he's saying. It's all about communication. And in this case, communication with another power that's from Christ. And through Christ, we will win. Putin is a devout Christian. He has taken the USSR from the KGB. Vladdy P has turned Russia around completely. He talks more about our Constitution and our founding fathers than most of our presidents do, unfortunately. That's just a true fact, and I want you to know that. So the communication between Trump and Putin, Mother Russia and Uncle Sam, might quiet that Russian bear down that Jackwagon Joe was just begging to take to World War III. Anyways, that's the way I see it. I want you to know we're getting hit by the Houthis. I want you to know that I think that the technology is coming from Iran and China. Heads up, United States Navy, and praying for everybody out there in the Army and in the Navy and in the Air Force and the Marines. God bless each and every one of you from everybody in America. May you come home safely. And those are the prayers of just all of us. Now, I want you to know, in releasing these files, we've got to protect the president of all costs. But remember, JFK and those files were being suppressed by just one senator in particular. That's Tom Cotton. We could thank Joe Rogan and Elon Musk when they were exposing those facts, and even Trump and everybody else. But we know that Tom Cotton has been exposed as the one person to keep all that stuff redacted and suppressed. And so if anything negative or any fishy stuff comes out on the releasing of these JFK files, and there's 80,000 pages of information that the public's about ready to get, well, we know that Tom Cotton, maybe even the Bush family, would have something to do with this, because LBJ is dead, and so are all his associates. But President Trump has announced just the end of yesterday, before he flew in, that all JFK files will be released. And those are just facts, and those are the facts that I want you to know. The USS Gravely, and I'll be closing with this, the USS Gravely assists in its moving and its security measures, just like I said. Navy guided missile destroyers usually deployed overseas for combat missions in the Middle East, but right now the Norfolk-based USS Gravely is in this hemisphere. The U.S. fleet Forces Command's top admiral spoke about the Gravely's mission and the fact that we're going to be taking this bad boy out there to protect the United States and the Mexican borders against the Mexican cartels is just a blessing. Heads up, cartel, and God bless you, Navy. And I'll be talking to you soon. Please like, share, subscribe, and spread this free on any platforms that you want. It's all about keeping each other informed. And I want you to know 48,000 members are keeping our detention centers full. Kristi Noem is doing her job. Marco Rubio is doing his job. We have extradited a lot of these people to El Salvador and various other governments. God bless you. Thank you for doing your job. Thank you for keeping America free. Amen.